that down just a smidge around. That up there. All right. Think back. Okay. Let's get into YouTube because we are fucking live. Channel live. Close that bitch. All right. I'll do the little intro and then the song, and then we'll fucking dive into it.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Phenomenal Fan Podcast, episode number 15. Lucky number 15. Gonna be an action-packed episode. A lot of things changing in the world of sports. NFL players flying all over the map. Major League Baseball players signing massive contracts at different teams, different destinations, and LeBron James getting laughed at in his face on the court. So, a lot to cover. We'll try to get to it all. But thanks for tuning in, and let's just go. All right, Jared. Welcome back to the Phenomenal Fan Podcast. We're here. We're live. We're ready to go. We're live on YouTube. We are actively checking our Twitter feeds as we speak because, my God, can any type of news break at any moment that would just shift the entire outcome of how an entire league will unfold in the following season. We've had a bunch of MLB guys sign free agency contracts, still waiting on a couple more. We've had like superstar NFL players just traded, signed, leaving, not leaving, but also they're going to leave. Like, it was just a wild period of time between our last episode and our episode right now. Starting off in the NFL, like we mentioned, before we get into the guys that have been traded so far, because we will definitely get to that, there's been talks about Baker Mayfield and his future with the Cleveland Browns as their quarterback. There's been some breaking news that's gone on in the last 4 or 5 hours that have definitely decided Baker Mayfield's fate as a Browns quarterback. But before that news even came out, it sounded like the Browns were kind of over Baker Mayfield. Baker knew that, didn't want to officially like request a trade. So it was like a whole weird situation. But Baker Mayfield no longer Browns quarterback. And before we get into the other guys, starting with Baker, former first round pick, Jared, first overall pick, number 1 pick in the fucking NFL draft. Oklahoma, quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner. Never really lived up to the expectation. Maybe it's his talent level. Maybe it's the offensive scheme in Cleveland. We don't know. Where the hell is Baker Mayfield going to be playing NFL football next year? He's going to have a job, but like, where?
Yeah, a guy, a Heisman winner, a guy that's been in the league for less than how many years is it now? 5 years maybe. Is this going to be his fifth or sixth?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 4 to 6. I don't know. I'm not sure. The COVID year messed us up, so
yeah,
that's what I'm gonna account for. Anyway, don't know. What's kind of funny is that he wasn't in on the deal with the Texans.
Correct.
For Deshaun Watson.
Correct.
It's kind of weird that he didn't like go with him or go with the first rounders or whatever it is, just to give them
A
some
quarterback.
sort of. I mean, I'm sure Texans fans would be pumped to have Baker Mayfield over Davis Mills. And I know, like we talked about, like we don't love Baker Mayfield right now because, but he has been injured, So like, I still believe this guy's can get it done.
Yeah, he has
I don't
stuff in the
know.
tank. It's just a weird. I just think it was a situation where if you look at Oklahoma's offense, like obviously he had a lot of success. Also, the Big 12 in college football is a defensive nightmare on in a bad way, meaning the defense in the Big 12 is bad. It's fucking bad. And it's not a coincidence that
Yeah,
every fucking year the Big 12 has some superstar quarterback who's a Heisman Trophy nominee and he's putting up fucking video game numbers. Uh, you know, and that's why it holds more weight when guys in other conferences put up similar numbers because it's like if you're a good quarterback in the SEC or in the Big 10, that holds a lot more weight than being a good quarterback in the Big 12 because Baker Mayfield was electric at Oklahoma and has just not been electric in the NFL. He hasn't been complete dog shit, but he's been pretty bad. Kyler Murray may be one of the only guys that's really fully transferred the pure electricity from his days in Big 12 as a quarterback to the NFL. Baker Mayfield has not, but we don't know if he's just been in a shit can situation in Cleveland with the lack of commitment to the passing game. Obviously, they've had Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, lots of great running backs, but that would also make you think that the passing game for Baker would have been good because he would have had a nice complementary run game. You had guys like OBJ, but you also heard OBJ. That's why OBJ left Cleveland. He's like, I don't like Baker, I don't like the system and all that stuff. Doesn't sound like it's very passer friendly in Cleveland. So I don't know where Baker's going to end up.
yeah, and it's
I'd like to see him
like
somewhere starting because I think he still needs to get that opportunity, right? As a starter.
yeah, yeah. I don't think it's fair for Baker to have like really maintained his shit as like a person. A lot of people were saying that Baker Mayfield was going to be
Off the
basically
field.
Johnny Manziel 2.0. There's
Yeah.
going to be issues, and for him to have like kept it like a clean record, like there's been no talk about him out getting piss pounded at some nightclub and
Yeah.
smacking a chick's ass, whatever it could be, like a lot of shit that happened with
That
Johnny
Johnny
Manziel. So
Manziel
for
did.
him to have
Yeah.
like really kept himself together and like obviously, he's probably been frustrated a little bit, like, I still think that this guy deserves, a shot somewhere,
Oh, for
and
sure.
I'm not sure where that's gonna be, and it's like, it's kinda weird because there's a lot of young, like, first round, quarterbacks in the league starting right now, like, you have guys like usual landing spots for guys like this, like the Jets or the Jaguars, like or even like the Giants. They all have young quarterbacks that like they still believe in, especially the Jags and the Jets. These guys are second year pros. Zach Wilson had flashes where he was like
Yeah.
he threw some ridiculous balls. Trevor Lawrence obviously was people were chomping at the bits to get him for the last 4 years, So it's like weird because he can't just go to one of those spots and just jump in and be the starter right now. Which leaves you with very limited options around the NFL. So like like I said, like it's weird that he wasn't part of the Texans trade because he could go in and be the starter there. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Davis Mills isn't going to start over a Heisman
Correct.
trophy winning quarterback, Or you know what? What about like something like Seattle? Is Seattle gonna is Drew
Yeah.
Lock or is
Geno
Drew Lock gonna be their
Smith.
guy? The Seattle, yeah, Geno Smith. So there's like some potential there. I mean, but the thing is, I know that some people are still high on Lock because he had flashes with the Broncos where he could throw the rock. But I don't know. Yeah, an interesting situation and pretty shitty for Baker just to get outed by somebody that's got fucking 400 sexual assault or allegations or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and not only did you get outed by him, but they really smacked you in the face by giving him $200 million fully guaranteed.
230. 230 fully guaranteed.
230. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I can brush over $30 million at this
Yeah.
point. That's
Yeah.
how fucking ludicrous some of these contracts are.
Five.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
$230 million fully guaranteed. The motherfucker hasn't played football. For all we
Two
know, he's gonna
years.
show up. Yeah, he's gonna show up. He's gonna look like Jamarcus Russell when he came back, and he's
Eddie Lacy.
probably not Deshaun. Deshaun is a fucking dynamic quarterback.
Yeah.
Like anybody would have loved to have gotten him, but it's like for you to not be in the league, going through all these legal things. The NFL was pretty hush hush on it, to be honest. You didn't hear enough about it because they want him to be in the league, obviously. And then you're Baker Mayfield, you're sitting there being like, I kind of want to get traded, and then all of a sudden Sean comes in, and then they just throw the fucking bag at him.
Yeah.
It's like, God, that's a tough situation to be
Yeah.
in. So
It's a good transition to like we've been talking about, but if you hadn't heard by now, Sean Watson had been going to legal allegations, sexual misconduct, whatever you want to call it, stuff. He was acquitted on like a bunch of the charges. I guess that's just like opened him up to be available. I'm still confused on that whole aspect because it sounds like he still has a bunch of pending allegations and legal shit to go through, but whatever, I guess. So he's like now he's available and the Texans were shopping him around and it was a lot of the decision making on his destination was from Deshaun himself. He was giving the Texans a list of guys or teams that he wanted to play on. Not here, not here, not here. And then it sounded like he narrowed it down to two different teams, one of them being Atlanta because he has ties to Atlanta as a city. And I think it was maybe the Panthers. I don't know. I could be brushing over the few teams that were involved, but I know the Falcons were one of them. And out of nowhere today, Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter both come out and they say, breaking news, Deshaun Watson has waived his no trade clause and personally requested that he goes to the Browns. And everyone was like, what? Like the fucking Browns? That as a quarterback
yeah,
would be
that's where
like,
you want to go.
yeah, that would be like probably the last place, one of the last places I would pick. Cold weather, AFC North, have never been known for their offense. Quarterbacks' careers have gone to just disintegrate.
Die. Yeah, it's literally the worst franchise in the history of the NFL for quarterbacks.
And he's like, that's where I want to go. Why? I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but here's the thing, is they have some decent weapons down there. They have a pretty damn good defense. They have good running backs. They have a good I don't know. I honestly I'm not a fucking expert on offensive line ranking, but I thought their offensive line was decent,
And it's good
Like
enough to get
overall,
Chubb and the running
it's a
backs.
solid,
Yeah.
right? It's a pretty solid team. And I wanna say that their defense kinda it's like Myles Garrett was a more polarizing superstar on any defense or on a defense compared to the Broncos, right? We don't have anybody like that right now necessarily.
Yeah.
Like Von that was he was like our Von Miller, right?
Sure.
But I wanna say that they're very similar to the Broncos defense, where they had games where, like, they didn't look great, but that's because the fucking offense was just sputtering.
Horrible.
And, like, defenses defenses that have really good statistics generally means that the offense is moving the football and not just going fucking 3 and out.
Yep.
These guys they get more rests, they have a way better pass rush, they're on the field less time to get fucking exposed. So, I think it's kind of a similar situation to the Broncos almost. Um, very similar. They have a pretty good defense, they're getting an elite quarterback, and I think this makes the Browns competitive if, like you said, the Browns don't just become the place where quarterbacks go to die.
Yeah. I
So,
the part that's a little bit confusing for me in Deshaun Watson's decision making process is like, I mean, okay, looking at the Browns depth chart right now. Yes, they just added Amari Cooper. Yes, their other receiver is Donovan Peoples Jones. Their tight end is David Njoku. And then, of course, their starting running
they have
back is
They have Austin Hooper too, don't they? Is he there?
I am not seeing him listed on the depth chart currently, but maybe
Uh,
he's there. I
um,
don't know.
uh, I just want to look it up because I think he was with them last year, and I'm pretty sure he was somewhat like elite as a tight end a while. Oh no, the he I we love to inform you on this show. 1 hour ago, ESPN said Titans have agreed to a 1 year deal.
with
for Austin
Austin
Hooper.
Hooper.
So
There you
he's
go.
no longer there.
But let me just say this. If I'm Deshaun Watson and I have my choice of options or weapons, I guess Atlanta wouldn't have been a bad spot. Calvin Ridley's not there, at least for the season. I kind of forgot that Amari Cooper signed with the Browns, to be honest with you. And I thought that was a dumb signing initially because I thought they were still sticking with Baker. But even so, looking at their offensive weapons, okay, Nick Chubb, great running back. Kareem Hunt, also very solid. Mari Cooper, good running back. Good wide receiver. Donovan Peoples Jones is like okay. Jakeem Grant Sr. is listed as their third string receiver. I don't feel like David Njoku's good. I don't know. Maybe it's just because the Browns have been so fucking underwhelming offensively for just such a long time that I see star players go there or play there and I automatically think or just like bump them down a whole letter grade because like of what their performance is going to be because maybe because they've had Baker Mayfield or I don't know if it's their offensive scheme or what the fucking deal is. But if now they have Deshaun Watson, they're going to have to drastically change how they play offensive football. Like completely throw out whatever they did with Baker and start from fucking scratch because Deshaun Watson can run and he can run well. They're not going to design the whole offense around him running like the Ravens would with Lamar Jackson, but there can be more play action. There can be more throws on the run. There can be more RPOs. There can be more just overall spreading of the ball as opposed to Baker, where it's just like straight run, and then has to be a pocket pass. Like Baker just can't, he could move a little bit, but not nearly as much as Deshaun Watson. And then on top of that, Deshaun Watson's arm is just fucking massive. Like he throws rockets all over the field. I'm just curious to see if
Yeah.
A, he's going to play, and B, how the Browns offense play calling is going to change, how they're going to use weapons differently. Cause it's like, you're going to have to, dude. You're going to have to change it. Otherwise, Deshaun Watson will go to Cleveland like every other good quarterback has gone, and your career will fucking die. Like, literally die. And you don't want to see that from a guy like Deshaun Watson because he is so electric, you know?
Well, and you know what? Like, what's crazy about Deshaun, and I think it's crazy, is like that we don't necessarily think about is Deshaun has accomplished so much right away in his career. Um, that you forget what type of fucking stats these guys can put up over a 20-year career. You know, like you don't think about how like Peyton and Drew Brees and these guys have these accolades because dude, we were watching fucking Drew Brees on the Chargers when I was a little ass kid. I remember the Broncos playing him and Drew Brees is their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like like I have talked to people that didn't even know Drew Brees was on the Chargers
Yep.
because that's how long he'd played for because he'd always been the Saints quarterback to them. So it's it's just kind of crazy to think like I know that Dabo Sweeney said that I think Dabo Sweeney said that he was that if you didn't draft Deshaun Watson, you were missing out on the Michael Jordan of football
Wow.
potentially.
That's a
So,
big, yeah, it's a bold
so that
statement.
yeah. So I'm pretty sure. Let me look that up real quick. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a quote he said. So it's like I think that Deshaun Watson is literally that good of a player that like he could go and make the Texans look good. You know what I mean?
You make him
Like
look
look
really
where the
good.
Texans were. Yeah, look where the Texans were without him. You know, like people watch the Texans when Deshaun Watson
They
plays.
they were
I didn't catch a
horrible
fucking Texans
before.
game this
They
year.
were horrible before. They have been horrible since he hasn't played for them. And while he played for them, they made the playoffs every fucking year. Like every year they made the playoffs. Now, I think it's different though because I don't like dude, he had like David Johnson at his peak, I thought. Or no, David Johnson, right? Or no, am I thinking of a different guy? I know he had DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins at his
He did
fucking
have
peak. Like I just feel
yeah,
like he had
he didn't have David Johnson at his peak because David Johnson was at his peak with the Cardinals before
Cardinals,
he
but
fucking broke his
David
hand.
Johnson was on the Texans this year. That's
He
why I
came
thought of that.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had
He had
I think he had another decent receiver
he had DeAndre
other than
Hopkins.
DeAndre.
He had did he have Andre Johnson at all or no? Maybe.
No, we're thinking of like he had like Will Fuller,
Yeah, maybe the
which
weapons were
wasn't like
great. I guess, maybe they weren't. Maybe he's just super fucking dynamic and just gets, you know, makes plays
let's
and
go
blows up
Deshaun.
offense.
Let's go. What is it? Texans? What 2018? 2018
Yeah,
roster.
Texans,
That
yeah,
that's
2017 roster maybe, I guess.
that was his like rookie year. It's like DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller was actually pretty good for
Yeah,
them.
he was really good.
Yeah, he
973
he almost rushed
yards.
for 1,000 yards. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, so he was pretty good for them.
DeAndre Hopkins,
Yeah,
115 catches for 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns.
he,
I mean, like,
yeah, he got fucking
fuck.
force fed.
Oh, and
By the
then
way,
and then they had JJ Watt
DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, they had a pretty good defense.
defense.
DeAndre Hopkins is it's pretty funny. He's one of those guys that literally pushes off every single time to the point where the official would be like, "Well, I can't fucking throw a flag on every single play."
DeAndre Hopkins.
Like if you ever watch, yeah, dude, watch DeAndre Hopkins play. He's the most physical, cheating ass receiver. Fucking freak hands, obviously great route runner,
Yeah.
but when he gets that separation, he pushes off. He gets called for offensive pass interference all the time, but um,
He just
like
shoves everybody.
I swear it's the official is like, am I really just going to be on national television throwing 14 flags in a row?
Yeah.
So
Also,
anyway,
the Browns defense is good, but looking back on this team that Deshaun Watson took to the playoffs as a wild card team, or it looks like they won the AFC South in 2018 at 11-5. Dude, in 2018, Deshaun Watson, we talked about the offensive weapons he had. Their defense had JJ Watt with 16 sacks. Whitney Merciless was a great linebacker. Zach Cunningham, uh,
it's a great name, by the way.
Zach Cunningham. Oh,
Merciless.
Whitney Merciless. Yeah.
Mercy. Yeah,
Jadavion
as a
Clowney.
linebacker.
Jadavion Clowney was on that defense with 9 sacks. And then their secondary featured Justin Reed, Tyrann Mathieu, and Kareem Jackson, who
Yeah, that's
combined
pretty
for
good.
7 interceptions as a secondary. Like that's a really good fucking defense. Like a really, really good defense. I know the Browns have good players, but I don't know, man. It's just it's weird. I don't think I have the Browns. I don't know. And then you look at like I was about to say Deshaun Watson going to the Browns doesn't win that Deshaun Watson going to the Browns doesn't win them that division. But then you look at that fucking division, the Steelers aren't going to win the division. The Ravens didn't look good last year. And who's the last team in the AFC North? The Bengals.
Yeah, the
So
Bengals. Yeah, they're all right.
so the Bengals are solid too, but like it's I mean, I think it'll be a three-way race, but I don't know if this just guarantees the Browns win this division. I mean, for God's sake, the
No, no,
Bengals just
not
went to the
not
fucking
by any
Super
means. We
Bowl.
haven't.
The Bengals just
Yeah, we haven't seen, and
go ahead.
it's just another Heisman winning quarterback, but we haven't seen him play in a year. And not saying that he's not going to be fucking dynamic and still, it's just weird when you have it's just that recency bias with sports is fucking live and well in every single person. People forget about you when you haven't been in the league for a minute or you haven't done anything for them lately.
Yep.
You see it all the time in baseball. Guys will hit fucking 30 home runs and then be like out of the league in like 3 years
Uh-huh.
or 2 years, and like they could be elite. So it's like, I definitely don't think that this guarantees anything. Like you said, the Bengals just went to the Super Bowl. I do think that this Browns team though has some serious potential. Obviously,
Yeah, it's just like if they
I
don't change how
it'll
they
be
fucking play, they're gonna lose still.
yeah. It would make Baker Mayfield look really shitty, as if fucking Deshaun Watson comes in and takes the Browns to like the
The
AFC
AFC
championship or
championship,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But here's that quote actually, by the way. Here's what Dabo Sweeney said about him. Dabo Sweeney said, speaking ahead of the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, Sweeney said Tuesday that the Cleveland Browns or any other team would be passing up the opportunity to draft Michael Jordan should they overlook the Tigers quarterback.
Wow.
And there's a video of that. You could probably post that on there. But
Jesus.
yeah, so that is some high praise. And then that's funny that he said was were the who was the number one overall pick that year? Was it not
Deshaun
who
Watson
was
was
Deshaun?
he was drafted in the 2017 NFL draft.
What pick was he like number 8 or something? What number what
2000,
pick was he?
2017 NFL draft, first overall pick was Miles Garrett.
Which isn't a bad not a bad pick
Dude,
at
look at
all,
this draft.
obviously.
Look at this
Myles Garrett's a
draft though.
fucking
Look at
freak and all and was right there chasing the sack record, so
Yeah, but look at
but,
this set.
uh
Look at these draft picks though, dude. Miles Garrett went first, Mitch Trubisky went second. And then and then the San Francisco uh took Solomon Thomas third overall from Stanford. Jacksonville took
jeez.
Leonard Fournette, and then Tennessee took Corey Davis fifth overall.
Oh my god.
Uh
That's fucking it was Deshaun 6?
listen, it gets worse.
Oh, it gets worse. Let's go.
Jamal,
Ready
okay,
for it.
this is gonna be a fucking TikTok, dude. This is like now we have to fucking now we got to dive into this. What draft was this? 2017, I said. 2017 NFL draft order. First overall to the Cleveland Browns, Miles Garrett. Okay, right, we can live with that. Second overall to the Chicago Bears, Mitch Trubisky. Ouch, that stings. Third overall at San Francisco, maybe they didn't need a quarterback. They had Alex Smith, maybe, or I don't know who. But third overall to the San Francisco 49ers was Solomon Thomas, defensive end from Stanford. Okay. He's played a bunch of games. He's, you know, been, looks like a contributor. Fourth overall, Jacksonville took Leonard Fournette. I like that pick. It's not a bad pick. That guy was probably the top running back coming out of college that year from LSU. Good pick. Fifth
He looked
overall,
yeah, he looked unreal.
yeah. Fifth overall, Tennessee takes wide receiver Corey Davis from Western Michigan. Corey Davis is like a good receiver, but my God, he is not a fifth overall draft pick, especially considering who he went in front of. Sixth overall to the New York Jets, Jamal Adams. Seventh overall to the Chargers, Mike Williams. Mike Williams is like way better than Corey Davis. Way better.
Yeah.
Eighth
Yeah.
overall, granted
Way
he hasn't stayed healthy. Carolina Panthers took Christian McCaffrey. Eighth overall.
lovely. Lovely.
Ninth overall, the Cincinnati Bengals, Jared, took John Ross, wide receiver from
Oh my
Washington.
god.
From the
A
from Washington.
the pu a punt returner, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
He's just really fast. It's because he ran that fucking 40. Like,
Yes.
who'd the Bengals have? Andy Dalton? They still have Dalton at
Yeah.
that time?
Yeah.
And he was
Then
just gonna be the truth?
10th overall to the Kansas City Chiefs, quarterback by the name of Patrick Mahomes. Ever heard of him?
No, I think he ended up being like a bench guy.
Yeah, backup. 11th overall to New Orleans Saints. Granted, they had Drew Brees, right? They're not looking for a quarterback, but they took Marshawn Lattimore. It's a pretty good pick. I mean, I like Marshawn Lattimore. He's
Yeah,
solid.
he's a good boy.
And then 12th overall to the Houston Texans, quarterback Deshaun Watson from Clemson. So Deshaun Watson went 12th overall, and guys like Mitch Trubisky, Solomon Thomas, Corey Davis, John Ross all went before Deshaun Watson in the 2017 draft. That's fucking bad. That's bad. And apparently, according to
Yeah.
your Dabo Sweeney quote, that's 11 teams that passed on the potential Michael Jordan of the NFL.
No, it's pretty funny about that quote specifically is that he said that the Cleveland Browns, he quoted the Cleveland Browns or any other team. Here's the I'm gonna wa I need to watch this video.
Dabo
Give me one
Sweeney.
sec.
Let me see.
Hold
Dabo
on, let
Sweeney,
me see. I'm
uh,
I'm listening to it right now.
Deshaun Watson. Uh,
On.
what did he say? I'm curious. Now I'm really curious. Now I'm really curious.
Well,
Because it's just, there's no fucking way that,
he he said he didn't say the Cleveland Browns, but what he meant, the reason that they referenced the Cleveland Browns in this article is because they had the number one overall pick.
yeah, makes
So
sense.
he's saying that anybody
And they've already missed,
anybody
they had
that
already
passes him
missed
up,
on so many quarterbacks in Cleveland, too. So he was like,
yeah.
don't.
He goes, I don't know much. I'm just an old funky college coach. He goes, but anybody that passes on Deshaun Watson, he goes, is passing on Michael Jordan. That's
Wow.
what he said.
Yeah, I mean, that's
So
serious. That's serious allegation. Not allegation,
and,
but,
and the fact that they passed on him though, don't you think that like it's kind of funny that he ends up going back there?
they
They had the
might
number
have,
one overall pick.
they might have,
It's in the back of their head.
I bet it is. 100%. I bet it is. Yeah, so Deshaun Watson to the Browns, he gets traded, immediately signs a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract. That is, I think it's 46 a year. Let me pull out the calculator. 230 divided by 5, $46 million per season from the Cleveland Browns to Deshaun Watson, fully guaranteed. He's going to see every dollar of that $230 million. And
That makes me want to fucking vomit. $46 million. Hey Ryan,
he hasn't even played, by the
if
way,
you
in 2
made
years.
if you made $100,000 a year
You're doing pretty well.
without spending it or being taxed on it, or how about this? After tax, if you made $100,000 a year, it would take you 460 years, longer than the U.S. has been around, to make how much money Deshaun Watson will make in one season.
One season in the NFL. Yeah. One
That
season.
fucking if that doesn't make you want to put your hand in the garbage disposal right now, I don't know what will.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh speaking of a lot of money and guys getting moved, Devontae Adams, Green Bay Packers wide receiver, not anymore. Devontae Adams said, I'm not going to play under the franchise tag. I don't want to be on the Packers if you guys are going to fucking franchise tag me. I know Aaron Rodgers is here, but fucking trade me. And they were like, okay, you're traded. And they sent him to the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, for a first round pick and a second round pick is what it looks like. And similar to the Deshaun Watson situation, Devontae Adams gets traded to the Las Vegas Raiders and immediately signs a 5-year, $140 million contract. That's Jared, 5-year, $141 million. That's $90 million less for the same number of years. 90 million less to Devontae Adams for the same amount of time. 5-year contract. He'll make an average of 28.25 million per year and become the new highest paid wide receiver in the history of the National Football League. So,
Yeah, he's
weird.
earned it.
He's definitely earned it, but also similar to Deshaun Watson, it's a weird fucking trade. I would have never pegged him to go to the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he's a great wide receiver, but is Derek Carr going to get the most out of Devontae Adams? No, not even close. I like Derek Carr, but why wouldn't he just like? Okay, Derek Carr last season threw the ball to Hunter Renfrow. Probably somewhere between 40 and 75 times a game last season.
And that's like, we don't exaggerate, so that's like actual stats.
It's around that number, ballpark. 40 to 75 times, anywhere in between that. I think on the low end, 40 times a game. On the high end, 75 times a game.
That's true. Yeah.
They still have Hunter Renfrow. Now they have Devontae Adams, who, if I were Devontae Adams, I would have stayed at Green Bay because Aaron Rodgers is the fucking quarterback. He loves you. He's going to throw the ball to you 134 times a game. And now the Raiders might run into a fucking issue where it's like, are we utilizing Devontae as much as we should be? Are we utilizing Hunter Renfrow as much as we should be? Are we running the ball enough with Josh Jacobs? I don't know what they're going to do in Vegas. But one thing I do know for sure, Jared, also is Devontae Adams is going to the Las Vegas Raiders, and they could still very, very easily miss the playoffs. Very easily. In fact, I think they will miss the playoffs, even with Devontae Adams, because that division, as we've already touched on, is so fucking loaded. And now the Raiders got better, but just one receiver better. I don't know if that's enough for the Raiders as a team to make the fucking playoffs or even compete in that division, because it just got announced also, by the way, that Juju Smith-Schuster is signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs are still fucking loaded. And the Broncos have Russell Wilson, and the Chargers have Justin Herbert. And so adding Devontae Adams to the Raiders, I don't think that's enough to put them over the edge and even get them in the playoffs. I don't know about you, Jared, but that's where I stand.
That the division's just too much for them, I think. But you know what? That actually does kind of piss me off. I didn't really think about it. I saw that he went to the Raiders, and I was just thinking about like, I don't know. I was just thinking about how that was kind of, it was kind of weird. It did seem like, it did seem funky to choose. It just, he just doesn't feel like a Raider really. But now he
Correct.
does. But now that he's a Raider, does feel like a Raider actually. But like he's just a Green Bay guy. Green Bay guys and Raiders are like, they're just like a different player. I don't know why. Once you play for the Raiders, I just feel like, I don't know. You just have like a stank to you, you
You're
know?
just a little bit grimy after you.
Yeah, you just, yeah, exactly. But like just the anything that's owned by the Davises, it's just like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like everyone they were always like kind of like the cheap shot team, like the bad boys in a weird way.
Yeah, they've
Um,
always been like that.
yeah. So, but I don't love that he's in the division now. So like that if that isn't somehow an electric combo. Um, but at the same time, like you said, it's too much. You could add fucking the three best receivers on that team, and you like the quarterback play is going to be
Yeah, like
bigger.
I don't hate Derek Carr. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he is Aaron fucking Rodgers. So I just don't understand why he
Yeah.
wouldn't try to prioritize staying in Green Bay. He knows it. He's lived there. Everyone loves him. He's gonna get fucking targeted a billion times a game. Why wouldn't he just stay? It's a
Maybe
weird.
maybe he likes partying, and also there's no the like no state income tax or whatever.
Also, maybe
So that's
the
the thing.
Packers are like, oh, franchise tag, and also we're just like probably not going to give you that much money, and the Raiders are like, we can.
And
So it's probably
Derek
money.
Derek Carr was his Derek Carr was his college quarterback though, wasn't he?
Maybe was he? Devonte Adams went
I think
to
so. I'm
um.
pretty sure Derek Carr was his college quarterback.
Their car went to Fresno. Did Devonte Adams go to Fresno?
Yes, he did.
So did they play together though, or did they miss each other?
Uh, Devontae Adams is 29. So it's just how old is Derek Carr?
I don't know. Their car is 30, so they had to have played with each other.
Yeah. Reunion. It says Devontae Adams reunion with Derek Carr gives Raiders an elite wide receiver.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
that's kind of an interesting thing as well. So it's like there's definitely some things leading. All the attention's obviously on Aaron Rodgers, So like Devontae could never be like the real franchise player, I
Yeah.
guess. With Aaron Rodgers there, like you have like an NFL legend. Also, all the money is probably being focused. It was kind of Aaron Rodgers' team, and then you have the fact that there's no state income tax, and Derek Carr's his college QB. It all kind of fucking adds up, why he chose the Raiders
Yeah,
actually.
they're both in the set 2011 Fresno State football roster. That's pretty fucking crazy. Derek Carr is quarterback. Devontae Adams is, yeah. Damn, that's fucking crazy. But Yeah, so Devontae Adams to the Raiders. The Raiders. So that's it's been a pretty active NFL uh week and offseason so far. Brady's back, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, fucking oh, by the way, Von Miller to the Buffalo Bills. Big old contract.
Big big contract, not a whole lot of guarantee. So like
Yeah.
it's pretty incentive based. That's kind of typically what you see with an old player that's getting a little bit older.
Yeah, I don't mind that contract. I just think it's maybe a little too much. I think Von Miller is getting to the point in his career where he's very complimentary, meaning he needs pieces around him to allow him to be one on one or, you know, so that he doesn't get all the attention. Maybe that's going to be the case in maybe that's going to be the case in Buffalo, but I don't know. I don't know. So, that was pretty wild week in the NFL. Moving on to Major League Baseball. Bunch of free agent signings. Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers. Chris Bryant to the Rockies. Seiya Suzuki to the Cubs. Kyle Schwarber to the Phillies. Rizzo to the Yankees. Luke Voigt got traded to the Padres. Matt Chapman got traded to the Blue Jays. Amir Garrett got traded to the fucking Royals. We don't have to talk too much about these guys because there's still a few that are unsettled. With Correa is still a free agent. Trevor Story still a free agent. Nick Castellanos, Michael Conforto. These guys still don't have teams yet. But on a general scale, Jared, I don't know if you've seen the pictures. I don't know if you've seen the reports. Obviously, when you hear Freddie Freeman's going to the Dodgers, it sucks. But
Yeah.
when you see him walk out of the spring training facility and onto the field, and he's smiling and he's got the fucking Dodgers jersey on, of course you want to be happy for a guy like Freddie Freeman because he's a great guy and a great player. But it's like,
Mhm.
now,
You're a fucking Dodger now, man.
yeah, now it's like I don't really like you
Just
that
like
much, and that kind of
it's like
sucks.
selling your it's like selling your soul, you know? It's the same reason it's the same reason why we said the fucking we don't really like The Rock as much anymore. It's just everywhere, you know? It's like I don't know.
Yeah,
There's something about going out to LA gets you just become a fucking you just become a plastic person. And then Freddie Freeman was it felt like such an odd like, you know,
yeah,
he's
super
a
authentic.
he's a brave, authentic guy. He's got his fucking kid with him all the time. Now he's gonna fucking probably get Botox and a fucking a plastic jaw.
Yeah, he's gonna get a boob job.
Yeah, he's gonna get his tits done and he's gonna get Botox.
Yeah,
And he's gonna be at every club
yeah.
every night.
It just doesn't seem like
I
he
don't know.
fits.
That's just LA guys.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like he
Maybe I'm just
fits the.
jealous.
Doesn't seem like he fits the LA kind of vibe either. But yeah, I don't know. It just
No.
sucks. It just sucks to see him on the Dodgers because if you're not a Dodgers fan, you generally don't like the Dodgers. And but everybody, even if they weren't fans of the Braves, were still a fan of Freddie Freeman. He was a great guy,
Yeah.
excellent player, and now it's hard to root for Freddie Freeman now because it's like, oh man, I hope Freddie Freeman, All-Star MVP candidate, does well on a team that's all All-Stars and MVP candidates. Like, I don't. I
Yeah.
wanted him to do so much better on the Braves because he wasn't on a lineup that featured five MVPs on a team that had five MVPs, fucking four Cy Youngs, 12 all
Yeah.
stars, unlimited payroll. Now it's like, I don't really want Freddie Freeman to do well. Of course, I'm a Padres fan and that's
Yeah.
bias, but I don't feel like a lot of people want Freddie Freeman. I feel like a lot of people agree with me in that sense, where it's like, this sucks. It's not good for baseball.
Yeah.
It's not good for baseball, Freddie Freeman going to the Dodgers. That's what I
No,
think.
it really isn't. No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It's actually bad for baseball. It's it's just a fucking it's just the Yankees of the West. It's just all they are.
Yeah. It's hats off to
They're just the
Freddie.
Yankees of the West. They're yeah, you got paid.
Yeah, hats
What you
off.
know what's fucking weird? The weird thing about it is the Olsen that Olsen's contract was just like the value was really similar. Like, obviously, not maybe not like annual value, but like the overall money was pretty damn similar, wasn't it?
I think it
It's
was,
like
but
160 and 180, but Freeman was a little bit shorter term.
yeah, it was like 5 years versus Olsen's was 8. But also, I saw reports that the Braves only called up on Freddie Freeman like twice in the entire offseason. They called 2
Hmm.
times. So maybe it was their plan all along. Maybe their plan would have been different had they not just won the World Series. I think that has a lot to do with it because they got everything they could out of Freddie Freeman, and then they won the World Series, and now they're moving on. But here's what I'll say. Good for Freddie Freeman for getting his bag, securing his paycheck. Of course, I would never wish any harm upon him as a player or as a person, but now I will not be rooting for him. And that sucks. And I think a lot of people agree with me on that perspective that it sucks that he's on the Dodgers. It sucks for everybody except for the fucking Dodgers, but that sucks for everybody. So,
Well, yeah, nobody. That's fucking yeah. That's the worst part. It's like when you know how exciting it is when your team gets a big free agent. I mean, I will say the Padres have signed some big guys. You get like
oh yeah. No, I no disagreeing,
obviously
yeah.
when you guys obviously you hate Eric Hosmer or you think it's a horrible
But we
contract.
signed
Yeah,
him. No,
awesome.
we
I
signed
understand.
him.
I you signed when you signed him, it seemed cool, right?
Of
He was a
course.
cool guy to
Yeah.
get.
Big
You guys
name.
got you guys get
Machado.
Blake Snell, you Darvish,
Machado.
right?
We signed Machado to a monster
Machado.
deal.
So
Yeah.
you've had that experience, where it's like awesome, but it's the fucking Dodgers. It's every
See,
season.
but Jared, you know why
It's
it
like
was awesome though? You know
that
why?
moment when the Broncos got Peyton, that moment when the Broncos got Peyton, how fucking thrilled I was. They get that every year with somebody.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is you know why it was awesome for me as a Padres fan when we signed those big guys? Because we didn't have good players and we were a bad team. And we knew at that moment that our team was going to become a better team with the addition of one guy. The the Dodgers adding Freddie Freeman takes them from a World Series team competing for a National League championship and making the World Series to now, Jared, I'm going to write this down so that we can remember this. If the Dodgers do not win the World Series this season, it will be, in my opinion, one of the greatest disappointments and failures in the history of baseball if they don't win the World Series. Right? You have teams
Yeah, I
from like
agree.
the late 90s, early 2000s New York Yankees where you look through that lineup and you go, Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, Tito Martinez, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, like these team, Mariano Rivera. And you look at that team and you go, if this team doesn't win the World Series, I'd be really surprised. But there's other really good teams. And of course, the Yankees won 3 World Series in a row. If the Dodgers don't win the World Series this season, probably next season, and the season after that, I would be disappointed if I was a Dodgers fan. And especially this season. Granted, this season they have Turner on his last year of his deal, Kershaw's on a 1-year deal, so on and so on. But when you have that lineup and you don't win the World Series, that would be an utter failure on behalf of the Dodgers. And I hope they don't. Trust me, I hope they don't. But it's looking like the road to the fucking World Series goes to the Dodgers. And that sucks. It sucks for baseball. I think everybody would agree with that. So, Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers. We can bitch about it all day long, but it is what it is. Guess what? Go play baseball. Who the fuck knows, man? Somebody gets hurt on the Dodgers, another guy gets traded, this and that. Another team might step up. I mean, for fuck's sake, the Giants last year were expected to be a nobody, and they had a better record than the Dodgers last year. So might be maybe another team steps up like that. But Freddie Freeman, the Dodgers, a few other guys to a couple other destinations. We'll get into that on our baseball show here. But two more things we wanted to touch on. First of all, Jared, March Madness is ongoing as we speak. Day one of the tournament had a shit ton of upsets, and I don't think just about anybody picked New Mexico State. No, I wouldn't say that. Some people picked New Mexico State to beat UConn. Just as we were recording this podcast, 6 seed Alabama lost to 11 seed Notre Dame. But yesterday, St. Peter's beat Kentucky, which was far and away the biggest upset of the day. Although a lot of people had Iowa going pretty deep in their bracket, and Iowa lost as a 5 seed to Richmond, a 12 seed. So, looking at the bracket, Jared, St. Peter's beating Kentucky, UConn winning, Iowa losing. How is the bracket looking? So how are the multiple brackets? As is the case, I'm sure with everybody's, it's just complete dog shit now.
Mine's
but
trash. There's 17 perfect brackets left. You know what's fucked up is any of the upset, like kind of like fringe ones or upsets that I tried to pick didn't work out. So when you try to mix a few in there that you're like kind of like they're kind of coin flip games, but like one team's betting wise would be plus 130, the other one's minus 110, whatever it is, right? And you try to pick those plus 130s a couple times, and all of those ones lose, and then the fucking huge upsets
the
happen.
plus 700
or
teams,
like or like even like I had Alabama, I have Alabama, or like I had San Francisco. I had like some teams that I just picked where I was like, okay, or I had USC. USC just lost.
Yep.
Just a bunch of teams were like you mix in the couple ones that you're feeling like they're gonna make you different, and those ones go wrong, and then
the ones that seem chalk,
the chalkier picks go wrong as well. That bracket is fucking busted.
Yeah. I mean, not that anybody thought that they had a chance to make a perfect bracket, because it never happens, but it is crazy to see these upsets. I mean, I don't think a person on this fucking planet. Well, it sounds like 15 people did. Sounds like 15 people picked Kentucky to lose to St. Peter's.
Now what that is that's the fucking people that are way too into it, and they make 200 brackets, and there's a bunch of those out there.
Yeah, there's not a fucking person on this planet that said St. Peter's is going to win that game. There's just nobody. I don't believe it. Besides the parents, besides the parents of the players, and even those people, like you said, there's a difference between being like, yeah, we're the parents of St. Peter's kids. Yeah, we're beating Kentucky today. Okay, yeah, you can say that. Do you actually believe that you guys are going to beat Kentucky? You actually believe it? No, they don't believe it. They're just saying it around their fucking other kids so that they don't think their parents are bad parents. But at the end of the day, they didn't fucking believe that, and they did. So, hey man, good for St. Peter's, good for them. March Madness is fun. We love it. Bets have been okay so far. We hit a couple. I had a parlay or two yesterday. Today hit the first 4 games, so I was feeling pretty good. But I'm sure that'll just fall apart as the season unfolds. Jared's over there just hitting 52 leg fucking same game parlays. But we'll get into that at another time. But just pretty standard.
Yeah. Standard procedure.
Yeah. And then the last thing, Jared, a video went around. It happened on, let's see, March 16th. So it happened a couple days ago. A couple days ago, the Timberwolves were playing the Lakers. And the Lakers have been bad this year. Bad, stinky bad. And LeBron's been good. LeBron's had a couple big games. But time was winding down in the first half. Lakers were down by 19 points to the Minnesota Timberwolves before half. And things are unfolding in a way where it's not going for the Lakers, obviously. Crowd is in the momentum. The momentum in the crowd is in favor of Minnesota, the game being in Minnesota. Lakers are struggling. LeBron James, for whatever reason, is down towards the back end of the court with the action on the other side. He's bent over, hands on his knees, just tired. Probably just tired of having to deal with the fucking Lakers being bad. Y'all know LeBron's a great player. Russell Westbrook has just been throwing up fucking cement bricks the entire season. But to be down by, it looks like 18 points to the Timberwolves, in that situation, I don't think he ever expected himself to be down by that many points. I don't think he expected Patrick Beverley to be firing up the crowd and walking around the court with his nuts dragging on the ground. But the statement that was made by somebody on social media that I saw and resonated with me is in that video, Jared, Patrick Beverley is circling the court while Anthony Edwards is shooting free throws. That's why LeBron was on the back end of the court. But Patrick Beverley's circling the court and he walks up to LeBron and he's smiling at him. Like he's just grinning ear to ear as the crowd goes crazy and the momentum's in favor of the Timberwolves. And he kind of flexes in LeBron's face and then comes kind of to the side of him and gives him a pat on the ass. And I saw somebody send out a tweet that said, could you imagine somebody doing this to Michael Jordan? And I thought, that right there, the thought that goes through people's heads of what would have happened if somebody did that to Michael Jordan, or for fuck's sake, even Kobe Bryant, that should settle the debate right then and right there of who the best basketball player of all time is. Right then and right there. Because nobody denies LeBron James is an exceptional talent, arguably the greatest of all time. But could you imagine, Jared, somebody like a defensive player like that coming up to Michael Jordan, smiling in his face, flexing, and then giving him a pat on the ass? First of all, Michael Jordan right then and there would have killed him. Like actually murdered Patrick Beverley on the court. Punched him in the face as many times as he could before he got pulled off. And if he didn't do that, Jared, he would have immediately got the ball. They were down by, in this case, it looks like, like I said, 19 points. Michael Jordan would have single-handedly ensured that they would have not lost that game and maybe not lost a game the rest of the fucking season. I know basketball's different. I know nowadays you need a superstar team to compete. You need a few guys that are top 5, top 10 in the league. But I thought that was LeBron essentially giving up. That was waving the white flag. Didn't fight back at all. Lakers got blown out for like the fucking 5th time in the last 2 weeks. And
Dude, they get
it's
they
sad,
get fucking smoked.
but Lakers just get fucking spanked. But I don't know how you would think a guy like that would respond to something like that, Jared, but I know Kobe and I know Michael Jordan would not have let that happen. For they wouldn't have let it get to that point anyways. But even if it did for whatever reason and Patrick Beverley or somebody like Patrick Beverley felt empowered enough to smile ear to ear walking up to him, flex, and then give him a pat on the ass. Oh my God. Those guys would have, fuck, it would have been ugly for the other team.
Yeah, I I saw Pat Beverly do that shit, and honestly, I fucking kind of hate Patrick Beverly.
Oh no.
I really hate Patrick
No,
Beverly.
I don't
So
like
I
him either. I'm just saying it's more so a focus on but it could have been anybody. Like anybody could have done that. Of course, Patrick Beverley is a guy who has the fucking balls to do something like that. But yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was I saw that and I just fucking hate that, man. I hate like and you know what? If you did that to Russ, I don't know, if it was to LeBron, um LeBron's still playing hard. LeBron's still putting up fucking big numbers. Even when as shitty as the situation is, I thought he's actually handled himself pretty well for how bad that team is.
I
He's
agree.
playing hard. He's still the leader, and he's got fucking Westbrook, man, and Russell Westbrook. I'm fucking tired of these smug ass, arrogant like comments by some of these NBA players that are like fading, kind of. And Russell Westbrook is one of them. It's like, hey man, you haven't fucking done anything lately. Like you haven't done anything in a while. you are shooting. You're one of the worst fucking shooting like actual jump shots in the league. Like
Yep.
you can score because you're explosive and you can get to the rim. But watching you shoot, like I've seen better fucking shots walking at Wash Park. I'm not kidding when I say that. Like
Yeah.
people that actually have a better jump shot. And I'm like, you're just a freak athlete. You can jump. So I don't like when you're arrogant and smug. And somebody walks by him and talked a little shit to him the other day. And like I think it was Reggie Jackson. They were playing the Clippers, and Reggie Jackson fucking flexed on Russell. And I'm like, hey, Russell, guess what? Reggie Jackson's a better player than you now. You're take your MVPs and go hang out in your trophy room if you can't handle the current state of the league. Because Reggie Jackson is a confirmed better player than you are right now. And I would 100%. And I stand by that. I would take Reggie Jackson for from the Clippers. 100% would take him over um Westbrook. That's what his name should be
Wet
changed to legally.
wet bricks. He throws up wet.
Yeah, wet bricks.
Throws up wet
You
bricks.
build a house.
Yeah. Um.
But
Yeah. I'm just.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think LeBron has. Right. It's a question of like, well, what the fuck is he supposed to do? Right. Like, what's he supposed to do? I think in that situation,
Fight him.
well, no, dude, seriously, in that situation, I think Lakers fans would have been more happy if he would have done something than just take it from Patrick Beverley of all people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think Lakers fans would have been, if he would have just gotten his face or pushed him or anything. He doesn't have to fight him or doesn't have to get ejected or suspended, but just stick up for yourself a little bit. But I just thought it was just a very sad moment because LeBron is a great competitor and a great player. But to see him kind of just roll over like that was pretty sad. It's pretty sad in my opinion. It sucks because now it's like the end of his career. And now I feel like he spent more time this season talking about how he's going to be able to work out playing with his son than he has on trying to fucking play in the NBA and win a fucking, a championship, which, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, that's going to do it, Jared. Kept it to an hour, covered a lot of different topics. I'm assuming by the next time we talk, the NFL will be chilled out just a fucking little bit. I mean, my God, how much more shit can unravel? But it's fun. It's fun to talk about. The NFL is wild. Major League Baseball is back. Not regular season, but we got some spring training games going on right now, which is pretty fun. And the NBA is winding down. March Madness is keeping us entertained. And we're creeping up on NBA playoffs. It should be fun. So either way, we
Yeah.
appreciate you guys tuning in. We love you guys. We appreciate the support as always. And Jared, on behalf of our brackets, we want to just say, we're with you because I'm assuming anybody that's listening to this has also a bracket that has been busted bracket. So
Busted.
gargle it up. So
Yeah.
thanks for listening, guys, to the Phenomenal Fan Podcast. Check us out on social media. And if you're betting on basketball, bet the over because it's more fun. That's all we really care about. So we'll catch you guys on another episode. Be sure to tune into our other shows as well. And Jared, it's been a pleasure.
Ciao.